I have been playing on this Minecraft SMP called the Lotus SMP for the last 6 months and have been building so much in this beautiful world. And in today's episode, we are going to take a look at every single thing that I have built so far upon 6 months. And this episode, if you have watched for me before, is usually a bit more cinematic. So we'll probably get to sneak a couple of cinematics into this wonderful world tour. I hope that you're excited for it, but this is going to be a little bit more raw form and kind of laid back in its pace. We have so much to cover today, so this may be a longer video, so I hope that you're excited for it as we look at our beautiful first base, our fisherman's cottage right here. We really went all out on this build. It has a whole ton of diorite, and I love the roof line that we have right here, as you can see with the granite kind of texture along with the brick. It really went really well, and I used B-dubs kind of scaffolding windows for the first time, and I really love how everything has come out upon the starter island that you'll see that we have here. It's quite a good looking island, and it's pretty much my first time ever doing custom trees. The field is supposed to be perfect in terms of its wheat, but we do happen to have a sheep that is roaming around here named Blippery, and they happen to eat the wheat from time to time. So that is all that we can really do. I love having him in the world, and it's a great little lore piece to everything, I would say. You can see right here that this is a really wonderful looking area where we have tons of our clay pots right here, along with some ferns, just to add that extra detail and that extra greenery to the build. One of my favorite things about modern Minecraft nowadays is the fact that we have all of the leaves that can fall down from the bushes, as you'll see every once in a while as we continue to walk through this path. And these are B-dubs inspired trees right here. It's definitely something that I'll continue to improve on in the future, but for a first at-bat, it's definitely not too shabby, and I think that it definitely looks good in shaders, which I'm using complementary reimagined shaders, by the way. And we kind of just have dedicated this place to be a bit of like a picnic grove where you can walk around. We have our quartz and diorite and polished diorite pathway right here, which I think is pretty unique, and we can continue along this way where we'll eventually meet our monorail, which is a massive build, and we'll continue to talk about that, but we just have a wonderful atmosphere as we continue back and forth along this spiraling path right here that I definitely spent a lot of time in the early game making in this world. That we have some hay bales along the sides as well, which will really stand out, I think. And I want to make sure that we have our replay mod cinematics on, and you'll see that we have some peonies over here and a couple of other bushes along the sides, really just to add that extra atmosphere. This place is so cozy and serene, and it's really one of my favorite places that we have in the whole world here, although we have some incredible builds, not just for me, but from tons of other YouTubers here on this creator-only SMP. So I say this is a good first look, as you can see, and it's just satisfying. Really solid first build that we have right here. Once again, in the morning sun, you can see that we have our fisherman's cottage, and I say that why don't we make our way inside of it so that we can take a closer look. I do think that I need to find a more efficient way of getting over here. We're gonna have to jump into the water, but the good thing is that you can actually get up here from the water, which is a very exciting thing. And so we can head up the ladder here, where we'll head into the inside, which is a very interesting looking interior. We have a couple of armor stands right here, which don't really happen to work, but then some TNT in the item frames, and we have all of our diamond tools. This one called Geronimo Stilton. Apparently, we've held on to every single tool that we've used so far in the series, and we use them for a lot of decoration. You can see that over on the right here, we have one of our earliest maps from the game, which is an island that's right next to this area that we have right here. And then we just have some extra goodness with a item frame or a mob head, which is from one of the other players on the server named Gribley Games, who's a wonderful creator and definitely worth taking a look at. But you can see that we have this floor that we have right here, and then we can actually head up the ladder where we have a second floor with some extra storage, and then a beautiful look at the islands that we have right here through the B-dubs bamboo windows once again. And then over here you can see that we have another little storage interior where this is just makeshift, and I wanted to think about what would a fisherman kind of have and need. So we have some potion bottles and some string for the fishing rods and some light, and then some gold, and then just some plants. These are supposed to be food. And the idea that we have right here, and a shield just in case anyone actually ends up coming to intrude at some point in time. And I'm really happy with this entire area. And I love the outside of the build that we have here too. And so we can actually head through this trapdoor, or this door that we have right here, where we'll get a new look at the rest of the island area. And you'll see that I've actually made this entire outerior kind of ledge area usable and livable. We have the outer bits right here, which this is a wonderful design of some new windows where we have some fences and some mud brick walls, and then some trapdoors behind it. From afar, it looks really good. And then we have just some pillar or balcony little bits with some stone pressure plates and some iron bars right here. And it continues along the outside. And then we have some extra levers right here just for that extra bit of, I don't know, kind of gray and life extra to the build, I guess you could say. And it continues all the way around where we have just the fisherman's sign. And I would love to have a name for the fisherman that happens to live here. So if you have any ideas, definitely consider leaving a comment below. But I say that, why don't we head back to the islands and we'll make our way on over to our monorail over here. We can make our way in this direction, and you'll see that we have a ladder that will head us on up to the top of our monorail. Now, I'm not surprised that I actually don't happen to have a minecart here. I usually am pretty bad about it when it comes down to it, but the idea behind all of this is that we would press the button right here, and then we would be able to take a very long trip on our monorail, which goes blocks and blocks and blocks. If we actually head into our map, you'll see that it heads all the way down here, all the way to the spawn area of our district right here. So it is one of the biggest builds that I've ever made, and it just keeps on going. But you'll notice that we actually happen to have a little build right here, and we'll fly on over to it so that we can talk about it a bit more. Serotonin has been a wonderful friend and buddy and just supporter of the channel over the last couple months to a year or so. And so during a live stream, we ended up getting around to making them a cottage, and I love how it looks. One of my signature moves when it comes to building is using item frames with an item on the sides right below some trapdoors to outerline the outer pillars of a build just like this. And not only does it give that extra flair to the build, as you can see, but it just kind of signifies a little bit more about the build too. We used a whole ton of different blocks in a fun way. This is the one of two only builds that I've built without creative mode and just experimented freeform on a live stream building. And you can see here that we have a mixture of our spruce and our stripped oak, along with our oak planks and some jungle as well. And then we also happen to have some chiseled bookshelves over here, which I think looks really wonderful, along with a couple of azalea bushes right over here, kind of just outerlining the rest of the build to give that homely and kind of colorful, soothing vibe to the build that I was looking for. And as the sun begins to set once again, we can also step outside right here, and you can see that it just has an impeccable view of the islands and the fisherman's cottage in the distance right along this pumpkin patch, which I put in myself just to add that extra touch to. But we can also head inside, and we have gotten around to making a neat little interior here too, with a couple of tables and some paintings, a couple of bookshelves and some cotted bookshelves along with an enchanted golden sword that I ended up finding from, I think, an underground ruin pretty early on. So I'm happy with it, and the lore behind this build is that Serotonin is the overseer of the fisherman's cottage, and he makes sure that the fisherman is safe and secure. And so thank you for providing that service to us. The kingdom definitely appreciates it. But we do also happen to have a build right over here. So I say that let's go and take a look at that guy too. And this one also happens to have a story behind it. Lenny's cottage over here. Now, this world tour is actually happening live on stream, and I also would love for you guys to get to know a bit more about me as a person and a Minecraft player. So as we continue to look at these builds, I'm going to answer a couple of the questions that we have tonight on stream. And the first one that we're going to be talking about comes in from Qatar, who happens to be a Slipper Plus channel member, and I appreciate all of the support from all over the months. And his question is, what are you looking forward to the most in 2026 as we arrive at Lenny's Lodge right here? Another kind of just freeform build that I'm so happy that I have in the world here. And one of the things that I'm most excited about the most about 2026 and the months and year to come is really continuing to hone the craft as a Minecraft content creator and player, as we don't want to get too close to that skeleton that we have over there. But I love making Minecraft videos, and I love providing knowledge and my expertise and experience of playing this game. And I've gotten a lot better at it over the years, and I feel like I've grown so much as a content creator this year that I know it may seem kind of cheesy as saying that on YouTube, but I love doing this, and I just want to keep getting better at it and see what other builds I can make and see how I can tell the story in the best way possible and become a better commentator and, a better producer and better Minecraft player at the end of the day. So I'm really excited about that. And I'd love to know what you are most excited about for 2026 as well. Now, I really do love how this build ended up coming out. We used a bunch more of our barrels kind of as like an outside exterior block to be used. We actually have the backside of a barrel right here, and we have a mixture of our stripped oak logs too. I was just trying to use the blocks that I happen to have on hand, and so you'll see that we have our jungle spruce or jungle signs along with some jungle buttons, just making it a little bit different. And then on the roof, I always wanted to try to add moss and leaves into a roof design, and it's not the perfect thing in the world, but I do like how it ended up coming out. Along with, we definitely had some more granite and some more of our bricks to use. So we used those on the inner side of the roof, and then the outer lining, as you can see, is just made out of oak, along with more of the barrels that we have on the side right here. And then we have even more item frames with more fun items. And if you ever have a whole ton of items that you're not really using that much, it's really fun to do that. And then also right here, we also have kind of just a feather. I should probably do these /invis to make that even more fun looking, but I do like the little things that we have right here. And then one really subtle thing that you would not notice unless I actually showed it to you is that we have a path that's coming out little bit by little bit over in this direction. And I don't want to show you all of it, but there happens to be some bounty and some treasure over here for when you happen to come into the world tour. But that's all I'm going to say. There's a little secret, as you can kind of see through the pathway right here, and I like that aspect of it. And then we have another little on-looking area of our ladder that you can see right here. So we can pop back up here, and then you'll notice that we have a miniature little dock area outside here, just so that we could dock a boat if we wanted to, and that it makes the area much more expansive as we continue on our monorail over towards the main kingdom that we have in this world right over here called Solith. And so as we take a look at the official kingdom of Solith at this point in time, you can see that the lands are very beautiful here. And I love the block palette that we're using. We have pale oak and diorite and quartz and all of the white blocks here, along with some iron and even a bit of pink touch to the builds, as you can see. I love it, love it, love it. It has so much more work that needs to get done on it, but it's a fantastic start that we have. I say that we can fly down on here, and you'll notice that we have different flower patches. Over here, we have our sunflowers, and then we also happen to have a ton of different white flowers over here, along with some alliums and some lily of the valleys over there, along with, I love putting crop fields into the game, so we definitely have our fair share of our wheat crops here too. Over in this area that we have right here, you can see that we have a sign that says Jordanology Campsite, because at some point in time, we're going to be making Jordan a campsite over in this direction that we have right here. Apparently, we have a spare bed that's just lying down right here, so I think that we can pick that up, but you'll see that we actually happen to have a path across the river right here. There's not too much to say about it yet. You'll have to stay tuned for the next world tour, because we have a lot more that we want to put over in this direction right here, but I love how this area looks. The corner of the monorail as it kind of crosses across the water here is something that you're going to notice is very, very unique about this area, along with the block palette. And you can see that I use my favorite path design that I pretty much use everywhere coming up, which is just some andesite and some stone bricks. And then when I want to have the path a bit more trodden, then you'll see that in other areas we'll have some cobblestone as well. But for the most part, I love this sort of texture palette that I have, and I think that it complements itself very well as we arrive upon the architect's cottage, which the lore behind this is that the architect is the person that is designing this entire city, which happens to be me, but the architect is supposed to be a personality, someone that is kind of pulling the strings from behind in order to return the kingdom or this area of the world back to the olden days, but in a new modern fashion. And you'll see that in this build that we have right here, we also have gotten around using the levers coming up on each of the corners, which adds a bit more slope to the corners, and it's a really good thing to use. Along with, we have a couple of garden beds right here with a pale oak sapling and a lilac, and we have the same thing going over on the sides right here as window panes. We also happen to have some trapdoors on the sides, and we also have some pale oak with a fence and fence gate and trapdoor right here as a sort of window design, which I think looks really wonderful. Along with, we also have some white banners, which will be changing pretty soon. So we'll take a look at some of the banners that we've been working on within the last week or so. But if we head inside here, you'll also notice that we have a wonderful kind of storage area, apparently. Right here, we have all of our shulker mess, our shulker monster, but we also have some incredible relics from the olden days at the beginning of the kingdom and our only music disc in the game, along with our first ever pair of golden gear, along with our first ever pair of iron armor. And then from our Christmas event on the server together, I have a peppermint fish, and then I also have a peppermint right here. And these are custom mobs and items put within the game from the other members of the server, which I think is really, really cool. And then you'll notice that all of these tools that we have on the wall, like even the stone shovels and that sort of thing, are the first ever stone tools that I ever used in the game, because I happen to hold on to everything. And then from another member on the server, Actual Pug, I have all of these enchanted iron bows, and then this is my enchanted diamond pickaxe that we have right here. And these are spare backup tools that I have because I'm one of those people that, as you can see, loves to put in farmland and happens to break tons and tons of hose. Oh, actually, I do want to mention on our server here, we have a couple of mini games where you can get different mob plushies of different characters or different people that make YouTube content. So right here we have Squid and Beard Boy OG, and forgive me, I forget the name of this person. And then we have Etad over here, and then even more of Squid. And so I love that we have all of these relics in the world, and you'll see that that is definitely a common theme as we continue to take a look at the other builds that we have over here. We can now make our way down this path here towards our barn, which is a video that didn't really get a full episode out of it, although it is the third episode, I believe, of the series that we have, and I love the design. This is one of my favorite builds that I've ever made. Sure, you can see that we have tons and tons of different little accents with the chains with the pale oak saplings hanging down, and then we also have an unopened eye blossom down here in the garden bed, and then some fences where for the first time ever I actually ended up getting around to putting down some white candles to add some more of that verticality to the build. And you'll see that we have more of our quartz and our calcite and our diorite and polished diorite for the build, and then some more of our banners, and these guys will be changing once again as well. And then over here on the right we have a miniature little coal pile just in case it gets cold here in the kingdom, and we need to have some charcoal for the furnaces is the idea behind it. And we still have not actually gotten around to putting anything in this build. I like that we have the pale oak, and we also have the crimson trapdoors here for that extra red accent, along with the pots on the ledges here. And it's a very quartz heavy build, so this was very expensive, but we can head inside and you can see that we still don't really have anything in the build yet, except for our diamond tools that, again, we've been using all over the place. So you can see that we have 2 more diamond tools over here, but we have to put an animal in here at some point in time, I would say, which brings us to my favorite thing that we have in the entire kingdom. Now, this wonderful pooch that we have here, her name is Marnie, and she is the dog that follows me from world to world here in Minecraft. She is an interdimensional being, I guess you could say, but I just love having her here with me, and she's a very important part of my Minecraft world and means more actually to me than I can actually admit. I love having her here, and I am sure that when I have a dog in the future, I will definitely be naming her Marnie too. But we can now make our way on over to our clock tower, where we have some cactus flowers, as you can see, just adding that extra bit of magenta and pink hue that really matches very well with the pale oak pink that you have, and then also the bit of pink that you can kind of get from our diorite, but you can kind of a little bit tell with the lantern casting off its red and yellow light that these textures really work very well together. And so I love that. And then a technique that, once again, I've been talking a lot about in the world tour is using levers, but even that with some chains here, we have to get to waxing these guys back down to this oxidation level right here. But the more you step back, it actually gives a bit more of that curvature and arches to the build. And I love the angles that we have here. So it's something that's definitely worth thinking about doing. But this officially is our clock tower, as you can maybe kind of tell right here. You can see that on the side, we've done the same. And then I also like that on each part of the bottom bit, here we have some arches that just once again give these more rectangular builds that extra bit of life. And this build being so vertical, it's a really wonderful thing to have. It's a great contrast to these smaller builds that you can see all around us here. Now, when it comes to the interior, it really is nothing. I really do mean nothing. We just have some more shulkers for the next builds that we're going to be making here. And so I'll have to come around and make this even better looking at some point in time. But I am very happy to have this build in the world, and we'll have to make a couple more tower builds just like that. But we're going to make our way over to maybe my favorite build that we have built so far, and I built this past week. This is a very recent build. This is our library that we have here. Now, this build, as you can see, officially has the brand new banners that we're going to be implementing into the world here, where we have a gray banner, and then we have a bunch of different white accents on top of it in order to make this design. And I don't know, something about this build really just matches everything that we have going on here really, really well. You can see that we have 2 floors, and we have a really cool looking slanted roof too that is accented with even more overhanging pale oak signs, which are very expensive, by the way, and then tons of shelves that lead down to some lanterns. And then we also have a couple of our decorated pots with our unopened eye blossom and then a lily of the valley right here. And then I do forget the name of the flower that we have right here, but you'll also notice in the background that we have tons and tons of candles that add that extra air of ambiance. And we can actually make our way back here, where I do want to mention very quickly that we have a stonecutter's little area here where we can chop down blocks. And then we can also have a custom little cave outlet right here that will spin its way around. I love how the sightline kind of happens to come together here, as you can see, as the sun begins to set and night falls upon the Kingdom of Solith. However, I do think that we can head on inside here, where we can curve on inside to our miniature library. As you can see, we have a whole ton of bookshelves right here, and it's not a lot, but this kingdom is still happening to be developed, and we're still in the early stages, so I do think that this is enough reading for the people of that we happen to have of the kingdom. You'll also notice that we have some lodestones down here, and then some pots with some saplings for that extra bit of greenery and color to the build. And this is quaint and cozy, and then a librarian, whoever that happens to be, is able to sleep in this bed like we will right now. I did also want to mention that I love the balcony that we have here. We have our fence and fence gates along with some diorite or polished diorite pillars right here. And the overlook that we have, this entire area is subject to a whole ton of change. There's going to be a lot more kingdom over in this direction by the next world tour. And I think that this is going to be a great little overlook area for the librarian. And once again, in a kind of game theory perspective, really brings you over towards the clock tower and the middle of the kingdom, as you can tell. However, we'll come across our most recent build, which is our homestead. And I'm not done with this build. I still have to fit it into the terrain and kind of just make it look more seamless, as you can tell. And we have some more things that we need to add on the sides of the railings that we have, but you'll see by the new banners that we have, once again, that this is one of our brand new builds, and it's a new sort of design for me. I like the outer awning. It's almost like a tavern sort of vibe. And then if we head inside here, you'll notice that we have some extra little pots that are kind of just on an awning right here. And I think it's a nice little vibe, little added detail that we have as we head inside. And this is not done yet, but we have a spiral staircase and a whole ton of storage, and then it keeps on coming up and coming up like that. I'm not done with it yet, though, so we're not going to take a full look at everything, but this is a good build that we have right here, and I'm excited to fully put it into fruition. Now, as we head over back in this direction, we have plenty of more work to be done, and the most recent progress that we've gotten done in our version of the kingdom lies over here. I do want to bring our attention very quickly to a miniature campsite that we have over here. Now, whenever someone happens to donate on our live streams, I usually end up making them something in the world. And this campsite that we have right here is dedicated to the Fox King 6980. And as we've been talking about earlier, I'm going to be making Jordan a campsite here soon. and we'll have to incorporate this area of the land into the rest of the kingdom, and I'm very excited about it. But we have our miniature little campsite area over here, and I'm very happy that we have it. Along with, I do want to bring our attention over to this area where we have a bridge that leads across the river to another part of the kingdom too. Now, this bridge that we have right here is one of my favorite terraforming projects that I've ever done in this game. As you can see, the stone seamlessly works its way up the pathway and really works its way, interconnects into the arch that we have on the monorail right here. This actually leads up to a tunnel, which leads to Mild Madi's base and eventually Pug's base as well. Although both of these things are not finished as well, you can see that we have tons and tons of blocks that we've been getting from digging out this tunnel over time. A lot of this has actually happened off camera, and you can see that we do meet our end at the wall, and it does actually extend to the left in order to get to Pug's base, although I do have a bit more conversation with them before I finish off the project, because I want to make sure that they are okay with actually what happens to their areas of the world. However, as you can see, we have gotten tons and tons of work done so far here in our version of the world, or our realm, and it is time to go and visit some of the other YouTubers on the server and see some of the communal builds and community builds that we've made over the last 6 months too. So I do think that we're going to take our rockets in hand and fly on over to Mild Madi's base. Now, quickly, as we make our way over to Mild Madi's base, I did want to take a quick detour because we have been hard at work making a path over next to our sniffer pasture, where we have Lil Spoon and we have Big Spoon right over here, and 2 pitcher pods, and actually some more things that we can pick up, some torch flower seeds for the first time in this world, as we have Lil Spoon right here, which is the name of Mari's cat, which is one of our slipper members here. And man, I will say that they are quite big, but I love having them in the world. However, you'll also notice that the path happens to continue along this way here a good amount, and you'll see that we have more cobblestone over in this area because I want this to be a pretty trodden down path, which makes its way over to the actual Pug space that you can see over in the distance over here. Now, we still have plenty of more work to do in this area, but it's a nice smooth path and a good infrastructure for what we have. And you'll see that it cuts across the jungle biome over here, and we'll take a look at Pug's place in a little bit, but I do think that, as we were talking about, we're first going to fly on our wings, and we're going to take a look at Mild Madi's base, which is a beautiful, huge city that's coming together with a spaceship over here. As we make our way onto Main Street, you'll see that we have a happy guest floating around, but the scale and the texturing that you'll see for the entire city is really impeccable. You can see the atmosphere and the vibe starting to come together. You'll also see that we have an awesome little road leading into a bridge over in the distance. And then we can also see that we have tons of redstone lamps right here. And you'll also notice that we have some really cool palm trees over on the side. We also have this really cool looking kind of little apartment building that happens to have an item or a frame or a banner of the sheep, of a very cool looking sheep right here. And my favorite part about this build is that we actually happen to have the balconies with the stairs leading on up. And this really gives that city vibe that you're looking for when you're building in this sort of atmosphere. It's something that I haven't tried doing before, but I really want to at some point in time. It looks so cool in my personal opinion. For me, this build that we have right here reminds me of when I was in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and they had some incredible looking buildings that were huge and kind of were on the corner of the city right here. I'm sure that doing this diagonal part of the build was really, really difficult to do. And then if we head inside, Madi has spared no attention detail here. You can see that we have just mending villagers and efficiency villagers, an entire trading hall all put together with some incredible looking chandeliers with the dark stained glass, and then some shroom lights and a fence leading down to some copper lanterns, something I never would have thought about, and a beautiful looking library over here. And once again, look at all the villagers that are just right there ready for you to use at any point in time that you would like. But look at this. I mean, I can't build an interior for anything. Madi's so good. Madi is such a good builder. You'll also see behind me that we have another section of the villager trading hall with even more decoration and even more lanterns behind us. Look how cool this all looks together. And then as we pass around the bend, I think that we have even one more, and look at how the sun actually happens to fall between the windows with the shaders. This looks so impeccable. I love all of the pots with the exotic flowers lining everything, and man, I'm quite impressed, I will say. Madi has been knocking it out of the park. As the sun begins to set, you can also see that we have another impeccable looking skyscraper right here, where we actually can fly on down over in this direction. And you'll notice that we have a custom pool deck where we have tons of little figures with fish heads kind of just lounging on the pool on their poolside sofas and couches. And then we have a wonderful looking pool with our flamingos right here. Apparently, that looks on up to a spaceship right here. And man, the atmosphere that you can see in this build is just impeccable. I do think that one thing that Madi is really good at is making sure that the interior of a build actually feels like how it would in real life. And you can see that with this build that we have right here on the pool side. And then I would be unsurprised if we can actually make our way into the interior here, where we have an actual bar with the brewing stands right here. And we have our bartender, which is serving us a good old beverage. And man, look at that. I will assure you, we're not going to go through every single floor, but every single floor of our build has an actual dedication and purpose to it. And this is beyond words. Even the carpet design with the gradients, everything fits into the environment and into the shading and the lighting. It all looks so good together. And I do aspire to be this good at building. Hopefully one day I have my own kind of mode and method of building, but being in a server that has players like this really does encourage you to play in a different way, and it also encourages you to become a much better builder, I would say too. However, we can also make our way over to the actual Pug's base very quickly too. You'll notice that as we turn around, he has a wonderful kind of Christmas theme going on top of his mountain. And then you'll also notice that we have tons and tons of beacons amongst the presents going on here. And so Pug is one of those players that you would actually think has access to the creative inventory. And this is all made from someone else. And it's so jolly and festive. But the real kind of magic to this build and to Pug's area lives below down here. You see, we can head down into this hole right here, where you'll notice that this entire cave, not only down below us, as you can hopefully see with the beacon, all the way down here, it's wild, but also all the way up here, everything has been caved out by Pug. And we have XP farm after XP farm after XP farm after villager trading hall, all right here, everything covered with glass. I will never ever be able to show you guys the scale of how big this all is right here. This is massive, and you'd have to be in game in order to see it, but Pug has been up to so much here on the server and is a massive component of making everything that we do have happen on Lotus. So as you can see, it's wild stuff, and I wish I could show it better, but this is the best that I can do. And so I say let's head on over to the shopping district, and you can see a bit of what everyone has been up to together, although I haven't built there yet, and we still have a whole ton more building to do as well. As you guys can see, I mean, Pug's place it's absolutely crazy. It's wild. You will notice as we continue to fly over here that we have our extension of the monorail. It goes for blocks and blocks and blocks. And then Pug has also gotten around to making this incredible looking and functional parkour spiral where you can go up and up and up and up and up and eventually get all the way past the clouds over to this incredible pond looking area with this stack of diamonds on top. And there is a reward for doing the entire parkour challenge, which I've done twice. And I would tell you what it is, but I would say, why don't you go and take a look at one of my videos of this series. We've all been doing so much, and I'd love for you to see it happen in real time. But man, this is a whole ton of diamonds, and once again, Pug is one of those people that we think happens to have secret access to the creative inventory. But we'll continue along this way, and we'll make our way to the shopping district. Eventually, our monorail continues along down here, and then slowly but surely, you can see that our shopping district is going to come to life. So our first place on the list is the town hall, which was made by Gribley Games. And the idea behind this build is that whenever we have our monthly server meetings, we can all meet in here in game. And instead of just all meeting on a Discord call, we can actually head into this build and spend some time in here together online, which of course is just going to be the catalyst for a whole ton of fun whenever we happen to have a stream day, an extra excuse for everyone to get online and hang out with each other. You can see that we have a sign here that says event planning, and then another one that says the front desk stairs, along with the break room over here. And you can see that we have a pillager that is at guard right over here. And then I do believe that the break room, I could be wrong, I think we have another build over here. I can't tell. We have another build up top somewhere. Let me try to find it. Man, I can never find it. Man, it even looks like we have a complaints bin, and we also have an agenda and a to-do board, which I did not know about, where we have a nether roof better nether roof. And then apparently we also have a Lotus of the member month, which I would love to be number 1 at some point. I know that Gribley ended up making the build, so hopefully we'll have to get on his good side. Okay, I give up, but there's definitely a whole ton of good things in this town hall, so I do think that we will continue on off to the right and make our way over to Joel Lamb's Mall. Behind me, you can see that we kind of have like a Las Vegas almost inspired sort of mall, and Joel's idea behind doing all of this is that it's really easy with a lot of Minecraft servers to have all of these shops that are spread throughout the district, but it's actually more efficient to have a whole ton of shops within one big build right here, which is the shopping mall. And so I do want to actually do something with this at some point in time. And so I want to build, I think, an armor or a pottery sherd shop. And so we're getting to do that slowly but surely on the server. You can see that we have a really wonderful sort of interior with all of the garden beds right here, very exquisite. And then I do know that another server member named Eekombokum made the floor here, which is very vintage kind of 70s vibe with the glazed terracotta and with the mushroom stems along with the normal terracotta that we have right here. But as we continue to make our way inside, you can see that although it's starting to become a bit more run down with the spider webs, apparently it just has not been used enough. I do believe we have all these vacant spots where you can make a different shop, and so we're gonna have to purchase one of these from Joel, if not for free, and we're gonna totally kind of revamp the area and make it into a wonderful pottery shop that people can come to. And so I'm very excited about doing it. However, I do not think that anyone else has actually made a shop in here, which is a total bummer, I would say. So I'm excited to be the first one to actually set ground in this mall. But I do think that we're going to continue along this way, where as you can see, we have a whole pillager patrol. And then we also have the blob. Now, this may have to be a bit of a run and gun sort of tour right here as the patrol goes around, but you can see that we have tons of custom trucks in the area. And the idea behind the blob here is that we have all of the blocks that you could ever need, kind of just like a Home Depot, department store. You can see that we have an outer area right here with more tractors and storage and that sort of thing. And then if we actually make our way down here through the garage, you can see that Mild Madi and Drhakonis have really been at it with an incredible looking interior. It's very factory light with the end rods that we have and the iron trapdoors. And then you can see that we can kind of get anything that you want when it comes to any dyed or colored sort of item. We have our green concrete, and then we also have our concrete right there and our dye, and we also have colored glass in all of those. And it's 2 floors of just wonderful, beautiful things. Along with, you can see that we have a bulk orders slot that we have right here. And we also just have a whole ton of our mini blocks just to add that extra ambiance. And Madi is really good about that. Along with, we have Morg, who apparently made a huge purchase here, and his payment is in that chest. And so we have our pillagers right here. I think that we're going to skedaddle away, and we'll make our way over to the wool farm that we have over here, which comes from ShadowTheAnxious, which has all of the different colors of wool, except for I think that I'm getting kind of cornered, I would say, by all the pillagers. So I do think that we're going to head along over in this direction across this path, and we'll make our way over to Phosie and Drhakonis' shops over here. I do want to mention that the lanterns that we have here, well, we have our, he's attacking me. He's attacking me. Okay, down he goes. I do want to mention that the lanterns that we have here are anvils with a lantern on top, and then we have 2 nether fortress or nether brick fences along with a black stone wall and then a cauldron. And as you take a step back here, it's really unique. I really do like the vibe of it. Something I've never really seen before. I love it. But right here, you can see that we have Phosie's honey shop, where it's kind of like a honeycomb, as you can see, and we can head on inside, and we have another wonderful looking interior right here, and tons of different cut copper and honey and kind of 1.20 blocks all over in this area. As you can see, it's actually kind of like a tavern, and so we have seating, and I hope that there would be food over in this area. It's really good looking, and it's a great addition. I have been using it for my candles and for waxing down the copper that I would like to have more of in the game. But once again, we still have 6 months ahead of us. But over behind us, we also have Drhakonis' flower shop, which is pretty much where all of my diamonds this entire season have been spent. It is by far one of my favorite builds in the game, and I am kind of envious of the block palette. You can see that we have the granite and the weathered coppered stairs, and then the mud and the spruce going up to the polished, or the granite, and even more of the waxed copper stairs, and some bricks here too. We have some bushes kind of overlaying everything, and then we have even more copper and some mud. And I don't even know what this block is that we have right here. And then there's so much goodness going on right here with the diorite and the calcite. Just everything blends together, and we even have some white concrete powder too. So just an incredible block palette, you could say. And we can step inside here, and you can see that it is an entire interior that is dedicated to only selling flowers. We have pretty much every single flower in the game, and even apparently seeds for breeding sniffers too. Although we happen to be fine with that. Man, look at how it looks with the sun coming down with everything. It is a stunning build, both inside and out. And once again, I would love to aspire to be the level of builder in order to be able to do that thing. But once again, we have the flower shop right here. Now, as you can see over behind us, we also kind of have like a tugboat sort of looking build. And I think that Chespi ended up making this build. I love how it looks. We have the warped crimson trapdoors and even mangrove and the bamboo trapdoors, all these different colors, along with even cherry trapdoors too. And look at all the different kind of accents and just kind of design elements. You can see that we have our pond right here, and then you can step on inside here. And I actually don't even know what this happens to sell. maybe all of the nautical, oh, even frog light. We have tons of frog light down here. All of the different sorts that you would like, and you can see the underground hull of the ship, and everything looks so cool out here. Making our way over to a mangrove sort of swamp, a custom swamp area that I think also was made by Chespi, where you can see that over behind here, we actually happen to have a wood shop, and we have our custom, I forget what these guys are called, the swamp plant. I'm sorry, that's such a bad way to say it. I forgot what these guys are called. And then we have our swamp sort of like a dock area leading up here over to the wood shop. And one thing that I still have not learned how to do as a Minecraft builder is actually learn how to make these sorts of signs just like that. But I like it. We have the wood shop in here, and we can head inside, and it's very condensed and congested. I think the door is right there, actually. But you could get any wood that you would want in the game, for the most part, for I think 2 diamonds per stack. We also happen to have a pop-up Prismarine shop right here, where you can head into these barrels and you can get any of the Prismarine items that you would need. As we walk up here, you'll notice that we have a We Break Bedrock sign, which is made from Inca Raids. And then on the side, we'll have our bookshelf or bookshop over here. And then we also have another funky looking build over here, which I actually have never experienced. Now, the next base on our list comes from Drhakonis, and this is my first time ever taking a look at it live on the server. I've seen it many times on his live streams, and this awesome looking Halloween area ended up taking 1 hour of live stream in order to figure out, but I definitely think that it's wonderfully placed. But you can see that over here, we actually happen to have a tough bridge, which we'll happen to take a look at in a second, but I do think that this is a bad angle. It's supposed to be a factory, kind of steampunk and that sort of thing, so we'll definitely make our way over there, but I did want to first kind of make our way over to his starter base, which is right over here. And so this is Drhakonis' starter base, which I don't exactly know the lore behind it, but I do think that the base by itself is just really cool looking. Drhakonis is a great builder. You can see that this is definitely kind of industrial, and I love the texturing that we have with the calcite and the pale oak. It's something I've been using a whole ton in my world. It does look like Dan has given Drhakonis a care package, and Drhakonis hasn't been online too much, but we can see that. I guess maybe this is from 1.21.9. We can head in here, and we have a wonderful little character model of Drhakonis' old skin, and he's using a new one now, and I love it. But this is a great kind of throwback nostalgia kind of tip. We have another cat over here, and then it seems like all these things are named interestingly. We have a shark apparently in there, and then maybe, okay, I close the door. Maybe I don't go in here, but it's nice and cozy inside. And then over here, this build is a beauty to be had. Look at the use of all of the copper. I'm sure it's waxed down, and this is so futuristic. It looks like something out of a video game. I love it. So I do think that we can head inside. You can see that we have some pale oak right there, along with, it also seems like we have a bit of our tough and then polished tough. And then I love just the use of all of the copper in the grates, and Drhakonis is one of those people that places down all of his grass intentionally, block by block, and you can see how much of a difference it makes. It really makes this world kind of come together. But inside we can go, where I'm sure there's a bit more work maybe to do on the interior here, but it's an incredible foundation. Look at that. We have, once again, these infrastructure sort of lanterns. And then you can see that we have some copper pipes going up to the ceiling. We also happen to have, I guess, a honey block right here with some end rods for light. I haven't really seen that before, but do like the design. And all of this looks really cool in here. It does seem like we have another room with some armor and, oh wow, tons and tons of materials with some copper golems that are just in organizing and making sure the inventory is looking good. But wow, Drhakonis has definitely been grinding, and this is hopefully something like what my storage area will eventually look like. We're working on it right now, actually, on the Lotus SMP. It does seem like we have a miniature stables, wow, over here too, with even more animals. We have pine over here, and then There's actually Samuel L. Jackson right here, the donkey. That's a very fun play on words. I like that. And then some miniature blocks used as storage over here, and Drhakonis must be the person that's doing the kind of more garage-esque thing right here. I definitely want to try it at some point in time. He even happens to have a really cool entrance to what seems to be a mine shaft right here. I'm not exactly sure what block this is, maybe shroom lights, but again, his texturing just is impeccable with the white concrete leading into the tuff and the diorite with the calcite too. But I think we can press the button, and we even have another corridor down here. Oh, I like the lanterns with the sea lanterns like that. We won't continue to explore all the way down, but look at that. There's a whole ton of good things going on here. Man, this build is actually way bigger than I thought it was. And so now we can make our way over to this really incredible looking build too. Drhakonis has been just wonderfully using the colors. I can't wait to see the full progress of this base, but it definitely is taking a long time to make, and I absolutely understand why now. It seems like we have a massive sniffer farm right up here, and then if we head upstairs, I wonder if we have even more. Yeah, we have bees over on this floor too. Look at that with the torch flowers right here too. It is very cute. And so I do think that we'll pass underneath the copper rail and we'll head over to the main build of this base too. Just heading on down below, you can see that we have some really cool kind of like ruined arches underneath down below. I like how lush it is. And again, this is all intentional. And I like the tough use leading into the deep slate underneath right here. Wow, this feels like a really cool kind of like underground sewer area. And, you know, Drhakonis has even been paying attention to the leaves and whatnot, just making sure it all looks so cool. We have the bushes right here, and even just like the occasional glowberry and some stones apparently down here. So all of this, you know, is so, wow, look at this, so very intentional. I love the attention to detail in Minecraft, and Drhakonis is definitely one of those people to look up to. If we head over to the bridge, it actually looks like it's ruined. Wow, so well done. It just kind of looks very natural in its ruined nature leading up to this place, and I like it. So I think that we can head inside this mega factory that you can see here. I'm really honestly blown away. I'm glad that I waited until doing this tour in order to see this place. It looks so cool. And so once again, an impeccable looking inventory or interior right here. It looks like we have some like dried grass hanging from the ceilings or something like that, and some bushes coming down to give that overgrown aesthetic. And then the walls are a whole ton of different blocks. This might be gray concrete, and I guess it really is that ruins that we can fall underneath too. I like that. And actually, even here in the corner, there's a miniature little minion head. Crazily, that's like unfortunately passed away down here. Some bad storyline apparently has happened down here. Oh my goodness. We are learning a whole ton about this base. You can see that inside here, there's a whole ton of redstone contraptions. Wow, look at all of this. This is a mega complex, and wow, look at it with all the redstones and the pistons around. And this must be an iron farm right here. You can see actually there's a tube, crazily, that's siphoning all of the iron up there. Oh my goodness. Okay, we might have to come back, see if another iron golem spawns and see that happen again. But I did want to also mention that there is a miniature sugarcane farm, which is what we're working on in our world at this time. But wow, look at all of this. There's mine carts heading all the way up to the ceiling over here with more farms right there. And look at this. Okay, we have another iron golem. I do want to see this happen. Once again, we can let him burn down, and then we're going to look at this tube right here and see all of the kind of items spill up here, go up the tube just like that, which is so cool. This base is not only incredibly functional, but it's like really beautiful. You can see that with the sunset right here. Oh my goodness. And then it seems like we have another door over here, but it seems like a secret door, so I don't want to impose. And even look at this. You have the little circles right here to board everything off and make it look obscure. This is so well done. So I'm definitely impressed. Drhakonis, you are an inspiration. But I say, let's head on over to the next build. I have just been through another portal, and we are officially coming across Obelisk's base. I think that we'll walk around here. I think that the darkness is really on purpose. I'm not going to raise the brightness. I think it's really part of the aesthetic that Obilisk is going for in here. We have some shulkers down here. I know it can be hard to see. I do apologize, but we have even more goodness over here. And then I don't even know what these blocks are that are leading up to the top over here. This is so ominous. And of course, it's nighttime at the same time. So I do think that we'll head to sleep for the night and we'll keep looking at this base. Wow. So as we head across the mountain right here, we can take a full look at Obelisk's base. I've never been here before too. Look at the shading that we have right here. We have the, what's it called? Quartz bricks right there next to sand, I think. Some sandstone. Wow, there's a whole ton going on here. But it actually really works together, I would say. And gives it a very cool kind of imposing vibe to the entire build as we walk around it. There's definitely a whole ton going on in the interior as well. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I do think that what I want to do is we'll try to fly up here and see what else is going on in this base. First off, I do want to mention that this tower is incredible right here. Oh my goodness, I love the texturing of everything. It's super well done. It actually reminds me of the game Dying Light. If you guys know that, there are all these towers that you would accomplish something and then you could kind of look out at the entire world. And this is awesome right here. Along with, it seems like Obelisk is going with kind of like a more modern sort of vibe down here too. Just like Drhakonis, we have some more infrastructure down over here. It does seem to look like, and even, wow, a crashed helicopter down here. Let's go and take a closer look at that. Now, this totally gives the vibe of like a sunken fighter jet or something like that. That crashed down. You can see that the dirt has piled up, and you can even see in a very incredible way behind here with all of the chains, even all of the detail. Look at that with the texturing. Looks so good and ruined with all of the miniature blocks around here. And then we also happen to have like some campfires over here that are smoldering, making it look like this place totally ended up crashing down around here. And actually, it seems like there's a miniature satellite or something up there too. So this is so ingenious. I would never build like this. And once again, it's a testament to the fact everyone builds so incredibly different on the server. There's kind of like a cockpit in there, but I'm just really, really impressed with this entire area. And so we also happen to have this build right here. It kind of reminds me of like a fire station. And that might actually, I think that is the vibe here. No way. This is the garage where the fire trucks can go out. And then these must be the fire poles leading up to the second floor. Oh my goodness, look at this. So well done, Obelisk. Wow. Yeah, I almost have no words. This is very, very well done. Along with, I do apologize for all of the bad zooms. My Zoomify mod is now messed up. So we're trying to use the spyglass for the first time, but I've never actually used it before. So it's kind of something new to me. And then quickly, I did want to take a closer look at this area over here. Look at these like little kind of storage compartments you can see, or almost like a mini campsite. Yeah, like a mini campsite. Wow. I would never think to build this. This is so cool. And it matches the entire vibe of everything. I'm so excited to see the final product here. But once again, off we go to the next building area. We are officially coming up across Daisy or MushroomPuddle's base. I have not been over here to look how serene this area is. I love all of the one tall grass and the sporadically placed flowers, and there's even like kind of a mini mushroom over here too. But I do think that the most wonderful thing about this build is the use of prismarine for the roofs, and I love the slope that we have right here, and I think everything matches really well with the towers. I love the vines that we have coming on down here too, along with, you can see that just a nice use of all these different blocks with a custom bush right here with the azalea block, and then a dead bush with the decorated plot too right there. So I do think that we might as well head inside. I'm very impressed by all of this. We have tons of pets over in the interior. Do they have any names? Maybe not yet, but that's okay. along with everyone seems to be so much better at doing interiors than I am able to on the server. Look at all of the use of space that you can see in this build right here with the enchanting setup over here. And then I can assume that we're going to head up to the second floor, which has maybe a little bit less things, but that does not take away. Over on the left side of the interior over here, I need to start using mini blocks. Apparently, they're so cute looking. We have some candles lighting up a nice little storage area over here. It's a nice calm kind of vibe in this area. And this seems to be a little kitchen too, overlooking the rest of the mountainside in the valley, along with a couple more character models. We have Chespi right there. But I do want to make my way over to this barn that we have right here. You can see the interior area is pale oak, and then we also have some copper coming down here. I guess most of the roof actually is copper too, but I'm just very well done with the colors. And we have a bit of our pale oak stripped logs too. Heading inside, you can see that we have a nice little barn area. I like it, a spot for the horse to drink, and then some hay bales and just extra storage over here for this horsey over here. And so not only do I love the location that we have over here in the mountain valley, but everything that Daisy has been doing is just really incredible, so I would stay along for the ride. Along with, I do want to mention, if you're still watching and you like all of the progress that we've seen so far, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. Not only do I have weekly episodes here in Lotus, but we also are going to be doing another world tour at the end of the world, and we'll see what happens. Not only do I make weekly content here on Lotus, and you can see all of those episodes, but at the end of the season, we're going to come back to all of these areas and see how much they've grown over time, and it's worth staying along for the ride. However, let's say farewell to this base for this point in time, and we'll go and take a look at the next one. We have officially arrived at the base of Gribley Games, where you can see we start on off from a nether portal that is very futuristic and circular, and I love it. It just shines, and it actually happens to be located over here in a cave area. As you can see, there's some parkour, which I'm very bad at in order to try to get over there. But I did want to actually come down and show you that this is also kind of like a generator that is feeding the mechanisms behind the nether portal, which is an ingenious design, and I love it. But now, outside here in the daylight, you can kind of see what Gribley is going for. He's going for a campsite and a camper vibe, and we have all of these watchtowers that actually, a couple of them have some convenience to it too, but the path to his base is right down along in this direction. So we can head on over here across the path where we have a couple of skeleton horses, which is a fun and interesting addition to the base. Now we can head up here to the fart den where we have a little dog right here. I'm not exactly sure what is going on here, but I do know that the dog's name is Fart. We can continue to make our way up here where we have a starter cabin right here. This says Gribley Counselor, or not Gribley Counselor, it says Camp Counselor, Gribley Games. And we can head inside here. I love everyone's interiors, but Gribley has been doing a great job with everything. We have a little fireplace, which is super cozy over here. And then we also have a custom little present. This is actually a custom mob head from Gribley's head, and there's a whole ton of stories behind it, so I definitely recommend taking a look at his channel. He makes great content. And also, I'm not exactly sure how you get this banner design right here, but I'm definitely going to have to ask him because I think it's very cool. Along with, I like the fact that we have the chainmail armor right here, and it seems to be enchanted too. Which is very, very rare. And so a very well done, a great job to Gribley. And there's a whole ton more around this area too. We can actually fly over here where we have a couple of banner patterns, which I think is a really awesome addition. But I do think that there actually happens to be kind of like an area on the bottom. Just kidding. I'm honestly not sure where most of Gribley's campsite is, but I do think that it's worth taking a look at this fire tower that we have over here, if I can land on it. You see, this design that we have right here is actually a functional happy gas sort of like way station. And I want to put this sort of design in my world. The idea is that you can park your happy gas right here so that then when you want to, you can just go and fly away from wherever you want. And Gribley spent a lot of time configuring this, as you can kind of tell. But it's a wonderful design, and really worth having in the world. And then by far, one of my favorite things about his entire area is that we have all of these lanterns kind of just floating up in the sky over here. It kind of gives me like a Chinese New Year sort of vibe, especially at nighttime. The sun is actually getting kind of close to the sky, so we'll wait for a second or two and I'll show you the entire beauty as the gold goes into purple, into darkness. All right, and as the sun begins to set, as you can see right here, this place just completely transforms. It becomes serene and just atmospheric, as you can see. And then as night actually falls, this just lights up the entire area. You can see the reflection on the water and it's stellar. I have to do this in my Minecraft world or a Minecraft world at some point in time. But once again, it's time that we head to the next build. I have no idea where we are, but oh, we're at a very cool looking base right here. Let's see if we can find out who it is to do. We have build mud farm building in the barn, join up the storage room, build the stable, finish neglected starter area in the sniffer house. I don't know. Oh, it's a cool portal. And we have a massive statue of Daisy actually behind everything. There's a lot going on here. We actually have a witch's hut over here. This is very cool. I like it. Oh my goodness. What a cool design that we have right here. Hi, Daisy. A Skelly killed your llama, Solly. From Joel. This must be Daisy's maybe old base right here. Very cool looking. Wow. Yeah, there's a whole ton going on. Lots and lots of mob heads and lushness, and I do like everything that we have going on here. Although I am absolutely in love with Daisy's new build area, I will say. And so we have officially arrived at the Lotus Halloween area. This is an event where we ended up having tons of people to come on the server and just play and hang out with one another. I do actually want to bring my attention to the fact that behind me, we happen to have, apparently we're Naruto running now, but apparently we happen to have a pumpkin behind us that is the nether portal. It's an incredibly well done design. Over in this direction, we have Jack Skellington's house. And then we have another wonderful looking build from Chespi over here, where you can see that we have a mansion with a ghost overlooking it over there. As we walk into the Halloween district, I do want to let you know that there's actually a replayable game in this custom made street, but we also happen to have tons and tons of our character models right here. You can see that we have Chespi right there, and then we have Gribley, and we also have Dan, I believe, right there, or right here, actually. Along with we have Etat, and I'm not sure exactly who this is. We have Jagger over here, and Seaman over in the kind of gutters over here. This is all replaying a kind of just fun little scene. And I just love all of it, especially the Chespi Superman character that we have over here. It's just really good looking. Oh, along with we also have Drhakonis right here flying down with a knife on top of everybody else here. But we actually happen to have a feature here in this world where we can press the button a couple of times and then hopefully eventually we'll get ourselves some candy. Maybe not at that door, but maybe at this door. You can see that we now have some candy corn into our hand. Okay, we need 8. Hopefully we haven't run out. Okay, it's 4. That's 5. Okay, it's 6. Okay, it's 7. Let's go. So eventually, when you have 8 candy corn, you can head back to this pumpkin over here, and you'll actually notice that we have a vending machine where I can head down into the bottom here. I can place in the candy corn, and they'll all head down into this barrel over here, where eventually you'll see that I got a Chespi Libre plushie. So the Chespi that I was just talking about, you see, I now have him in my hand. And gosh, I gotta say, it's very, very cute looking. Over in this area right here, you can see that we have a custom path that's leading on over to a tent. Now, this tent has another multiplayer game that I don't even know the complexity of it. It was made by the whole team themselves. We happen to have Chespi on our head, apparently now. I didn't have anything to do with it, but it's really incredible. And you'll have to take a look at some of the other members' videos in order to kind of understand how the game plays. However, I'm sure that you can see the massive Ferris wheel that we have right here. And this was made by Hey Squid. It's not the first wheel like this that they've ever made, but you can see that all of the lights in a second are actually flashing in a way that really simulates real life and brings so much immersivity to the game. And one of the coolest things about this entire area is it actually happens to be a parkour course around the entire area. Now, I'm no good at parkour, but it does exist here, and there is something going on here. I hear some sounds in-game, but I'm not exactly sure what's going on. But I just love all of it. Maybe it's the redstone. It looks cool. It really is awesome, and you can also see that we happen to have this like halo spiral that's going up in the distance. This was made by Madi and Drhakonis, and totally gives that mystical kind of outer-worldly vibe to the game. Now, we are going to be hitting the Christmas district after this, and I had nothing to do with the Halloween district, but I did have my own contribution in the Christmas district, I will say. You can see that we have a clown right here, and inside of its teeth, you can see that we have a massive, massive game area. Now, again, I don't really know the specifics of the game, but you can see that we had tons and tons of friends online, and everyone had their Halloween costumes on, which is really awesome. And then there is a scoreboard for this game, where at first it does seem that we have Madi with 154 points, but yeah, there's a lot going on here. We even have like a scoreboard, as you can see, with Gribley and with Squid, I think, in second place. And then over to the left side right here, you can also see that we have a massive roller coaster, and this was built by Gribley Games. It's a very fun ride, and I wish I could take you on the journey, but you actually need 2 players in order to ride on it. But I do assure you it's very fun, and I do have a couple of videos, I think, where I do use it. I do also want to mention that we have that Ghostbusters logo on the wall, and then actually if we fly around down here, you can see that we have a whole ton of custom pumpkins right here too, which look really cool. Along with, we can fly on over here to Chespi's Halloween Haunted Mansion. Now, it does not look like there's an actual interior inside this build, but it's just so beautiful, I think, and especially from afar with the ghost over on the right-hand side. Along with, we can make our way into Jack Skellington's base, which was made by Danesto, who you can see right here, who is plastered up upon the wall. We also happen to have a kind of potion brewing area right here, as you can see if we jump up, which is very cool. And then we also have a custom graveyard right here, which is inhabited by Phosie and Seaman and Inca, and with Mild Madi and Drhakonis right there. All of them kind of being undead in the graveyard, which is just a real fun kind of addition to the game. And then we can make our way at the perfect time of day, actually, over to Jack Skellington's house, where we were running a skin voting contest. I can't remember who won the Halloween skin contest, but Dan ended up running it from this area right here. And man, you can see that that halo looks really incredible in the darkness over there. Honestly, along with that ghost over there too. But as the moon begins to rise, that is everything that we have in our spooky Halloween district. I love how it all looks at night. But I think it's just about time that we go to the next holiday and celebrate Christmas here on Lotus, and I'll show you everything that we've done together. Now, as we arrive at the Christmas district right here, we enter through another portal that is actually part of Santa's workshop. We have Santa's sleigh right here, which is customly made, of course, and then usually, I think, yeah, they may be stuck right now. We have copper golems that are going back and forth, kind of delivering Santa's presents, which are the miniature frog lights right here. But we can head out through here, and you can see that we have a massive, massive Christmas district area. And we had a really fun event over in this area too, where we had tons of people come to the server once again, and I just had a ball playing with everybody and hanging out and enjoying this area together. And it does look like we happen to have Chespi Cash right there. So we can walk up this pathway right here where you can see that we have a Santa dwarf over on the right side. And you'll also see that we have tons and tons of boats over here. And the reason is because this is actually a naturally generated sort of ice rink course. And so we all ended up doing a race together, Mario Kart style here. And it was very, very fun. You'll also notice that we have a custom sleigh up top, And all of the sort of blocks that are coming down here as the trail are a parkour course, which has a reward at the top too. As we head up here, you'll see that on the right side, we have tons and tons of custom presents as well. And then we have a really cool looking build right here with all of the mud matched in with the spruce that you can see, although it doesn't actually happen to have an interior, but it's okay. I do really like the aesthetic that it has with the honey block windows here and the shelves on the sides. And then I'm pretty sure that Dan ended up making this, and this is a testament or a nostalgia trip to Snoopy and Birdsong. I think is the bird's name, I can't remember. But Snoopy and the bird right here, which I love both of them. And then Pug actually ended up getting around to making these custom item frames, which is really cool. We have the Christmas lights and then the wreath right here, and you'll see that as kind of an ongoing theme around the rest of this area. We also have Drhakonis's base right here, which I didn't actually even notice until now that he used the honey block windows as well. I definitely need to try that at some point in time, but we also have all of the Christmas decorations around here too, and the snow icicles on top, which I think were inspired by Mild Madi, and we still have tons of materials over in the space from when we were building at the end of the day. You can head over here and you'll also see that we have a base from Mild Madi. This is where we had our secret Santa over here, which Chespi is actually currently fulfilling based on our most recent conversation, along with on the left, as you can see, as the sun sets. On one stream, we actually ended up getting around to trying to make a custom snowman, just like the one that Seamana has over here, which is really good looking, but it did not turn out very well. So it kind of ended up becoming a snow totem. As the sun sets and the Aurora Borealis ends up coming out, you can see that we have Mild Madi's beautiful and massive looking base, where I think that this was the inspiration for everyone to keep using all the item frames with the wreaths and all of that sort of stuff. But even more incredibly, if we head inside here, it does seem like the copper golems have frozen up, but this was exactly like Santa's workshop as well. You can see that we also have tons of mine carts just going all around delivering the presents for Santa in here too. But the best thing about it all was that if you press the button, a custom song would come out, and we all had a secret person to give a gift to, and I ended up having Morg, the sloth, and I ended up giving him, I think, a pretty solid gift, I would say. And over here across the bridge, we have my official build for the Christmas district. It was just a festive build that I ended up kind of whipping up in creative mode, and it's supposed to be a festive winter cabin. It's interesting based on all of the other builds that we have over here, but I do like the design that we ended up going for, and I ended up spending time to make my first ever custom banners. We have a mountain kind of Christmas one over here, a Christmas tree, and then we also have Santa's belt and that sort of thing over here, and I like the vibe that we have. I guess I left the door open by accident. Never do that in Minecraft, but we have tons of my custom diamond tools over in this area that I used kind of just building everything in Minecraft, but we also have a ledge that comes over here, and then it leads into this miniature little interior area where you could spend a night or sleep and have some cute little views of everything else going on with the bunny rabbits over there and whatnot. And so I'm happy with the build. I also like using the hanging signs over here just to add that extra bit of depth to the build, as you can probably kind of see. And my favorite thing about the build is that if we walk through this area, it actually just goes through the path. And so it definitely intertwines itself with the environment, and I really do like that. Along with, this is my first time kind of really starting to use candles behind the scenes, and it's just such a nice texture piece to a world. We can continue to make our way over here where we'll come across Gribley Games' winter cabin. You can see that it's very much like his townhouse, but I really love the design. I think it matches really well with the rest of the Christmas terrain, and you can also see that we have tons of like custom little blocks like the gold and even a candy cane in here to just add that extra bit of touch and fun to the build. We can actually head inside here, and Gribley does a great job at interiors. You can see that we have tons of food for everybody to eat And I think that everyone ended up kind of convening here and sitting at their spots and hanging out here and just enjoying their time together on Christmas together, which is awesome. I was here for the first part of the event, but I ended up going early, so I wasn't part of that. But you can also notice that we have our huge Christmas tree right here with a massive copper golem up top. And then it's actually worth mentioning too that we have, I forget her name, but I'm sure you guys know who she is over here as well. But underneath the Christmas tree and the sleigh, you can see that we had our Secret Santa. And I don't know if everyone actually ended up getting their gift, but mine was right here. And so we did a bit of a gift giving ceremony over here. Along with, I do want to mention that over here, you can see that we actually have a custom train. I do actually want to show it a bit more closely too. I'm pretty sure that Seaman ended up making this, and it's just so cool looking. It's totally Polar Express vibes, and even the train cart track that you can see right here, it's just really cool looking. Now up beyond the hill, beyond everything, where this really massive, very good looking build is, that matches totally and fits perfectly with the winter environment, we actually have a custom game in here, which is just like that very complicated one that we have in the Christmas district, or in the Halloween district, but Christmas themed, and I think done just as well, if not even better. And so I helped to dig this place out, but I actually don't know how it works. So I was just talking with Chespi, and I do want to hang out with everybody. And I did also want to mention that we have a couple more builds down here, just kind of like a winter villa, just for aesthetic right here. I like the design that we have, and I love the lighting that we have too in this build. And then this one is really nice too. We have a huge dog in the background. I actually don't know the interior. I haven't been in here. But we have a little campsite and a little present and a massive dog. I want that painting. That's so cute. And then right here to the right, you can also see that we have free cookies that have been freshly baked that are in this barrel right here. And so why don't we take some? I did also want to mention that we have a couple of flying reindeer right here, which are so cute. I think Madi ended up making this one too. And then over on the right side, we have a couple more snowmen, which are from Seaman and then from somebody else that made it on the event. Along with, we also have a head of Etat and Gribley put together in a winter theme. I think this actually looks really well done. I'm very impressed with it. Along with, we have some sort of custom cute little Frosty the Snowman item frame sort of design. I don't know how this was made, but I do like it. Yeah, actually, it's actually an armor frame model. This is something, and then we have some coal right here for the eyes. So this is very cute. Well done. And then actually, if we fly past the entire Christmas district, we're going to come up across something awesome. Now, this area is the snowball fight arena that was made by Mild Madi as well. You can see that we have all of the candy canes in the Ice Spikes Valley right here. And then we have a couple more custom snowmen. These may be my favorite out of all of them with the scarves. You may notice actually down here that we have the petals. And then over here, we have the pines. Now, these are two teams where you could play snowball fights against one another. And you could cross across the bridges. And we had a mechanic where if you got hit by one snowball, you'd freeze in the game. We also have a couple of like little campsite areas right here. And a real custom ravine going down here too, with its own kind of gameplay mechanics as well. And this was probably my favorite thing that I've maybe ever done with other people on Minecraft. It was so fun being able to play this game with everybody. And yeah, we just had so much going on here in this world. Now, there is one more build that we are actually going to revisit because I've now updated to the most recent Minecraft version, and I now have a couple more things that I can actually show you about the area. So I say let's do that now. So we are going to make our way back for an official tour actually here of Seaman and Chespi's base, because once again, all of our models have been updated so we can actually see everything that is going on here. We can see that we have that little patio area. It's so wonderful and Japanese looking in here, and a grand old welcome to Noodles Don't Noodle. You can see that we have Hey Squid right here, which is holding out bowl of our soup, which is ramen, which is Chespi and Seaman's food for the server, and I think that we're out, but I'd like to buy some. Along with, we have Kung Fu Sniffer right here as well. But once again, I love the kind of little vending machine that we have right here with Chespi and Gribley and Seaman all in boats like that, which is so cool. And then we also have that happy gas that we were talking about earlier and all of the dogs, but we can also head inside right here where you're going to see that we have a miniature little tomato with a little head right there, which is so fun. I guess there's a little dog underneath there, and then we can head back over here to say hi to the other one named Ping right there. I think that we can actually head up here. We have a map of the entire GRCC, which is really awesome. And then we can head up here to the second floor where you can see that we have a miniature bookshelf, which looks really cool. And then, wow, a little fish item frame right here. That's fun too. And some armor and even more custom item frames, things hanging up. And look at all that, tons of Gribley heads over here. A very cool looking interior. We are once again out through another nether portal. And you can see that we've come across some sort of tropical biome with all of the palm trees over here. Now, it doesn't really seem like there's anything else over in this area, but I did just want to bring attention to the palm designs. You can see that we have the cocoa pods on the bottom and different leaf designs going down with the jungle wood and the logs, just like so. And it really does look quite good. So I'm sure we'll have to come back to this area at some point in time and see how it's developed. We are back at another base, and I do have a feeling that it is from Phosie. And I must admit, I'm really loving the vibe of everything that's going on here, so let's go and take a closer look. Now, this first house that we have right here is nestled into the cliff side, and it seems very lush. I love the copper that we have, and a really good use of kind of like the wiring that you see right here. Along with, you can also see that we have a talking dragon head that's saying nom nom nom, which is kind of funny. Along with Daisy was here. Then was she from Phosie? So yes, this must be Phosie's base. And we can head inside, and I love all of the flowers and the clock for sure right here. And definitely the banners as well. We can continue inside. And we have a present right here, apparently. And this looks like Inca's here that you can see along with Phosie's head once again right there. Slip was here as well, and your door is talkative. That's funny, but I do like the interior, especially these banners. And so we can hop up to the next builds over on top of the hill. As the sun sets, you can see that we have a beautiful build over here in the distance with some mangrove and a whole ton of green blocks. It looks like some moss and some green wool. Do like the texturing with the oak outlining that you see here, and then we have some birch and the mangrove for kind of like a witch's hut sort of kind of gazebo area out here. You can see right here that we have, again, more storage with the miniature blocks. It seems like everyone else on the server is doing that, and I still haven't been. We can head inside right here. Apparently we're gonna head an egg. Apparently no chickens though. And we have a wonderful dining area right here with the amethyst buds and the what are they called? End rods, giving that extra light and ambiance to the build, along with the glowberries as well. The jungle trapdoors are a good vibe, and I do kind of wonder why there are all of these chickens here. But even this area right here is super cozy. Again, everyone on Lotus is so good at making interiors compared to me. This definitely is such a vibe. We can sit down here and relax. Along as you can see in the witch's hut area, we have a really nice look over here. I like the end rods and the miniature prismarine block that we have here, the sea lantern. And we can look over to where we started over there. And it's nice. It's a good build. I'm sure that more will come over time, and I'm excited to see it happen. However, as we have the skeleton horse behind us, I say that we have a couple more builds that we want to take a look at. So let's head back to our wings and see what the next build has for us. We have officially arrived at Joel Lamb's base, which is a genie's mug right here, along with apparently we have a cute little axolotl. No, not axolotl. What are they called? But I do think that one of the best ways to look at this place is from the sky, where you can totally see the genie's mug coming in right here. There does apparently happen to be some sort of infestation or something going on onto the genie. This wasn't here like initially, but I do like that up here you can actually see that we have the colored signs with the curves. I never have used signs like this before, and I do want to at some point in time. It does seem that we also have a secret Santa sign right here, but we'll open up the door And I do know that Joel has a pretty cool looking interior, a spiral column that keeps going down and down and down. But oh man, it's become very, oh wow, the vibe has changed a lot down here. Oh my. Okay, he doesn't seem to have my head at the moment. What's this? Greetings, mortal. You have found the lost lamp of the great genie fairy bunny thing. Honestly, we have lost the script. As a reward for finding the lamp, we will grant you one wish of your choosing. This wish can incorporate anything you like in this world, whether that be resources, help with building, friendship, or something else. Use it wisely and creatively. Have fun. But also make it somewhat realistic, please. Make a wish, take a piece of paper from the barrel behind you, and rename it to your heart's greatest desire and your name. Then throw it on the gold block in front of you. Your wish will be processed and delivered upon 1 to 10,000 business days. Be patient. Wish may become void if it too closely resembles a previous wish. Reminder that the great genie fairy bunny thing holds no responsibilities for misunderstood or unintentional wishes, nor is he responsible for stolen souls. Happy wishing. Wishes granted. Eekom, my head. Shadow, stack of diamond blocks. Gribley, Santa. Emmy, a stack of hay. Now the funny thing is I actually already have a wish from Joel and I haven't used it yet, so I'm not going to grab a new one, but I actually did not know that that existed down here, so that was definitely fun to check out. And I say that we can also head up here. I do remember this part where we have a really kind of cool automatic inventory storage area where you can see we have tons and tons and tons of copper golems working very hard over here. Along with, I do remember Joel telling me something about the fact that this fish that we have over here is something from, oh, it's from the Lotus fishing event. Yeah, I got second place in the Lotus fishing event, which is from May 2025. And man, now here we are on January 9th of 2026, such a long time ago. Now, last but not least, I actually do not know who is building in this mini castle area over here, which actually happens to overlook this wonderful build that we have over here as well. You can see that this build is so cool looking. It almost makes me think that it's from Joel based on what we just saw at his genie mug, but it's just so full of colors and different blocks. You can see that we have basalt and mud, and I think that this is pale oak potentially right over here, along with bricks and mangrove and mud, along with andesite and dirt even in the build. Like, it's so good looking. There's so much going on here. I like it. I've seen this build before. I don't know if it has anything. Okay, it has a miniature stables apparently inside of it over here with one horse and one skeleton horse. And that seems to be it. And actually a cat over here, which has a name called Goblin. Yeah, I really don't know who's building over here, although it is 10 out of 10. So keep going, please. As we were saying, we also have this build over here where we can head through the medieval gate, and you'll notice that we have a whole ton of different little builds in a miniature kingdom. I do want to build something like this at some point in time. I just haven't gotten around to it, and have so many other ideas for what I want to do for the time being. This looks like kind of like a brewing station right here, and we could head down there if we wanted to, but I don't think I want to. You can see that we have a couple dogs kind of just waiting, and I think we might as well feed them if we can. And then as the sun sets, you'll see that we have tons and tons of rose bushes with some wheat as well. This is a design that is something very akin to what I would personally do in the game. So I will say I'm a massive fan. We again have that tower right over here, and then a miniature bridge just coming on over to this side. Now, there really isn't too much space used in this entire build area, but it's used incredibly well, I would say, and I do like the layout. You can see that we have another castle over here, and then we even have like a diorite or a calcite wall to build over there. It doesn't seem like there's too much going on when it comes to the interiors, but I love the foundation that we have over here. I would say we might as well hop our head into here too. And we might as well head to sleep for the night. And then we can once again head over in this direction over here where we have a couple more builds. So right here, we have another kind of tower-esque build. This one seems kind of like it's a work in progress. We have the crafting table right here and no flowers in there too. Yeah, this one definitely is a bit more of the work in progress. And I understand that. And then we also, I think, have one more build, yes, right over here. And again, no interiors, but still, I do love the vibe. And I think that this is definitely very inspirational for me. And we even have a market area over here where we can then exit out from the side of the kingdom. And so I say, once again, let's get back onto our wings. Now, as you can see, we have returned back to the Kingdom of Solith, and so much has already changed even since when we started this episode. You can see that we now have another boat over here, and we have even more pathways, and we have an even longer tunnel, and even more going on way back there as well. So I do recommend that you stay along for the journey. Consider subscribing to the channel if you'd like to see everything that I've been up to on Lotus, and if you like any of the other creators, I will have them all linked below so that you can take a look at them. If you've liked this video and you'd like to take another look at something else that I've made in even a different world, consider taking a look at this playlist that we have right here.